I never made a scene. I stayed beside you quietly in ways you couldn't see. I fixed the things around you before they fell apart. I thought that was enough to show the language of my heart. I didn't need the spotlight, I didn't need applause. I thought that love was proven by the things it never draws. I thought you knew, I thought you felt it too. In every steady promise I silently kept for you. I thought you knew, without me saying it loud, that you were every reason I stood so proud. I thought you knew, and that's the part that breaks, because the words I never gave were the ones you needed me to say. You used to ask me softly, are we really strong? I'd answer with a simple nod, like nothing could go wrong. I thought my calm would comfort, I thought my silence meant security and certainty instead of discontent. I never meant to leave you in doubt or in the dark. I just believed my actions were louder than my heart. I thought you knew how deep it ran inside, how every quiet sacrifice was love I couldn't hide. I thought you knew that I would never leave, but loving without speaking is harder to believe. I thought you knew, and now I understand that sometimes love needs trembling words, not just a steady hand. If I could go back to that night when you looked unsure, I wouldn't answer with composure. I'd let my voice be raw and pure. I'd say it without armor, without trying to be strong, because the man who never breaks can still be wrong. I thought you knew, but I should have made it clear that loving you was never calm, it was fierce. I thought you knew, but silence isn't proof, and strength without confession is not the whole truth. I thought you knew. I know now. I should have told you. I always thought there'd be more time, more quiet evenings left, more ordinary moments before we felt the shift. I didn't rush the words I had, I didn't force the air. I thought that love was understood without being declared. I wasn't good at showing what trembled underneath. I wore my calm like armor while you were needing me. I should have said it sooner, before the silence grew, before the space between us started breaking through. I should have said I needed you, not just stood there strong. Because loving you in quiet is loving you too long. I should have said it sooner, before we let it slide, before the words I never spoke became the reason why. You used to look at me like you were waiting still for something more than steady hands, for something more than will. I thought that being constant was enough to prove. Look, sometimes love needs language, not just someone who won't move. I wasn't cold or distant, I just didn't know how to let the walls I built so young break down. I should have said it sooner, before you stopped believing, before my quiet confidence turned into you leaving. I should have said I loved you out loud instead of low, because the strongest men sometimes are scared to let it show. I should have said it sooner, before the moment passed, because silence can be louder than words that never last. I thought there'd be a right time, a person's careful place, but love doesn't wait patiently for someone slow to say. If I could stand before you now, I wouldn't hesitate. I'd let the tremble break my voice before it's too late. I should have said it sooner, before we grew apart, before the quiet dignity outweighed my heart. I should have said it sooner, and maybe we'd still be standing in the same light, you and me. I should have said it sooner. I know. I used to think that love was calm, a steady kind of ground, that if I stayed and didn't run, it wouldn't let you down. I didn't know it needed warmth more than it needed pride. I thought that being strong for you was enough to stand beside. You were asking for my heart, I was giving you control. I didn't see the difference between presence and my soul. I learned too late what loving really means. It isn't just the steady hand or fixing broken things. I learned too late that hearts need to be heard, not hidden behind silence or buried under words. I learned too late how simple it could be to say I'm scared to lose you instead of just letting you leave. I thought that if I never shook, you'd feel that I was sure. But certainty without confession isn't always secure. You needed fire in my voice, you needed something raw. Not someone who looked fearless, but someone who could fall. I was building us protection, you were waiting for embrace. I didn't know that love needs risk to hold its place. I learned too late that love must sometimes break, must sometimes tremble openly for both our sakes. I learned too late that pride can look like strength, but strength without vulnerability has limits, has a length. I learned too late, and now I see the man I am becoming is who you needed me to be. If I could stand before you now, I wouldn't hide the fear. I'd let my voice be uneven if it meant you'd hear. Not polished, not composed, not calm, not in control. Just a man who finally understands that loving means the whole. I learned too late, but I still learned that love must sometimes burn. I learned too late, but I won't waste the lesson that it gave. I learned too late, but I won't remain the man who stayed to say I learned too late. Too late. Whenever you were breaking, I stood up straight and tall. I held the way between us so you wouldn't have to fall. I told you it was nothing, I said I'd be okay. I learned to carry silence in a steady kind of way. I didn't let you see the nights I couldn't sleep. I thought that loving you meant being the one who doesn't weep. I was strong for you when the world felt cold and loud. I swallowed all my fracture so you could stand up proud. I was strong for you and I never asked for more. But even iron bends when it carries too 'cause even the strongest man can't hold forever long. You leaned into my shoulder like I would never shake. You never saw the tremble that strength can sometimes fade. I thought that love was proving I could endure the strain, but loving isn't hiding your own unspoken pain. I didn't want to burden you with cracks beneath my skin. I thought that if I stayed composed, we'd always win. I was strong for you, but strength without relief turns into quiet distance instead of lasting peace. I was strong for you, but I never let you know that even steady mountains erode beneath the snow. I was strong for you, and now I understand. Sometimes the bravest thing is letting someone see you bend. If I could change one moment, I wouldn't be so calm. I'd let you see the shaking inside these folded arms. Not to make you save me, not to make you stay, but to show you loving deeply isn't pushing pain away. I was strong for you, but I should have been real. I should have let you touch the parts I couldn't heal. I was strong for you, but strength alone won't do, because love is not just holding on, it's letting someone hold you. I was strong, but I was human too. I saw it in your silence long before you spoke. The way your smile grew careful, like something new broke. You try to make it gentle, you try to make it kind, but distance doesn't whisper, it widens over time. I knew before you said it, I felt it in the air. Some love doesn't collapse, it simply can't stay there. I never blamed you for walking out that door, for choosing something lighter than what we were before. I never blamed you for needing something new, because loving you was never about owning you. I never blamed you, even when it hurt. Sometimes the bravest hearts are the ones that let go first. You stayed as long as you could, you tried to make it last, but effort without feeling can't rewrite the past. I won't turn you into villain, I won't turn you into flame. Some endings have no enemy, they just have a name. We were not a failure, goodbye. I never blamed you for falling out of place, for losing what we once had without disgrace. I never blamed you for choosing peace instead, because love that stays by force is already dead. I never blamed you, and I won't start now. Some love is not about forever, it's about the vow. If I hold anything tonight, it isn't rage or pride, it's gratitude for every year you stood by my side. You didn't leave me broken, you didn't leave me small, you left me knowing I can love it all. I never blamed you, and I never will, because loving you once deeply is loving you still. I never blamed you, not then, not now. Some love doesn't remain, but it bows. I never blamed you, I just I didn't talk about it, I didn't make it loud. I went to work each morning, head steady in the crowd. No one saw the fracture, no one heard it break. I learned to smile in daylight for dignity's sake. I told myself it's better to hold it in my chest, because some kinds of weakness are better left unguessed. I carried it alone, the nights that wouldn't end, the words I should have spoken, the things I couldn't mend. I carried it alone, like I was built for weight, like loving you in silence was simply my own fate. I carried it alone, but strength can turn to stone, and even steady hearts can't heal on their own. My friends would ask in passing, are you doing fine? I'd nod like it was nothing, like I had crossed the line. I never let it tremble, I never let it show, because a man who falls apart feels weaker than he knows. But silence isn't healing, it's just a hidden room where memories grow louder in the dark they bloom. I carried it alone, the way you used to leave, the way I said it's nothing when I call, maybe healing wouldn't feel so small. I carried it alone, but I don't have to now. The man who never speaks his pain is learning how. I carried it alone, but I survived the storm. And sometimes walking through the fire is how you're reborn. I carried it alone until I didn't. You were standing in the doorway, waiting for a sign, something more than steady breath, something more than I'm fine. I saw the doubt inside your eyes, like you were almost gone, and all it would have taken was one honest response. I felt the words rise up in me, they trembled in my chest. But pride can look like composure when it should confess. I stayed silent when I should have fought, when I should have let my voice shake and say what I thought. I stayed silent while you were slipping through, because loving out loud was something I never knew how to do. I stayed silent, and that's how we broke. Not with screaming or anger, but with words I never spoke. You didn't ask for miracles, you didn't ask for grand. You just needed proof that I would take your hand. But I stood there steady, like strength was all you'd need, not knowing that sometimes love must bleed. I thought my calm would save us, I thought restraint was wise, but silence can be colder than 1,000 goodbyes. I stayed silent while you were losing faith, while the distance slowly built between us in that space. I stayed silent and watched you turn away, because the strongest thing I knew was not knowing what to say. I stayed silent, and now I understand that silence isn't dignity when love is on demand. If I could relive that moment, I wouldn't look so still. I'd let the cracks show openly, I'd let my voice fulfill. Not perfect, not composed, not guarded, not refined, just a man who's finally brave enough to speak his mind. I stayed silent, and that's the truth I face. You didn't leave because you started. Maybe we were never wrong, just slightly out of place. Two hearts arriving honestly at a different pace. You came with open hands, I came with history, and somewhere in between those lines we missed what we could be. We didn't fail at loving, we didn't run away. We simply met each other on the wrong day. If we had met sooner, would we still be here? Would we be standing closer instead of standing clear? If we had met sooner, before the walls were built, before the weight of promises, before the quiet guilt. If we had met sooner, maybe we would have stayed. Maybe love like ours wouldn't have to fade. I see the way you hesitate, like I do too. Not because we're weak, but because we're true. We know what love can damage, we know what love can save. And sometimes loving someone means choosing to be brave. Not brave enough to take it, not selfish enough to try. Some love is powerful, but not meant to defy. If we had met sooner, before the world was loud, before we learned to settle, before we made a vow. If we had met sooner, before we had to choose, would we be holding on instead of learning to lose? If we had met sooner, would this still feel right? Or would we still be standing here, choosing the light? Timing is a silent force, it doesn't shout or bend. It simply shifts two lives apart before they can begin. We were not too broken, we were not too late. We were simply honest with the weight of fate. If we had met sooner, maybe we'd be strong. Maybe this goodbye wouldn't feel so wrong. If we had met sooner, maybe we'd have known some love is meant to change you, not to be your home. If we had met sooner, or maybe this was exactly when. When they asked what happened, I said it didn't work. Like love was just a contract that quietly got hurt. I didn't paint you reckless, I didn't shift the blame. I never turned your leaving into a burning name. Some things are not for crowds, some stories don't belong in conversations light and loud, or in a passing song. I never spoke of it, the nights we almost broke, the way your voice would tremble at words I never spoke. I never spoke of it, the way you used to cry, because some love deserves to stay dignified. I never spoke of it, not out of pride or fear, but loving you was sacred, even when you weren't here. They think I moved on easy, they think I let it go, but silence doesn't measure what nobody can know. I carry what was honest without rewriting truth. You were not a chapter I casually outgrew. If someone says your name now, I don't look away, I just don't let the details be given out that way. I never spoke of it because it wasn't small. It shaped the man I am today, it shaped me through it all. I never spoke of it because some love is rare, and rare things are not meant to scatter everywhere. I never spoke of it, and maybe that's my grace, to honor what we once had without erasing space. If loving you was fragile, I wouldn't let it fall into the hands of strangers or jokes in a hall. It wasn't weakness, it wasn't shame, it was respect for what we became. I never spoke of it, and I never will, because loving you once deeply is loving you still. I never spoke of it, and that's the part they miss. The strongest kind of memory is the one you don't dismiss. I never spoke of it, but I remember. I wasn't always fearless, I wasn't always sure. I stumbled through the moments I couldn't fully endure, but I never tried to cage you, I never clipped your wings, I never made your freedom dependent on my strings. I didn't love to own you, I didn't love to win. I loved you like a promise that begins from within. I loved you the right way, even if we didn't stay. I never dimmed your fire to make you easier to keep that way. I loved you the right way, even when it broke. I never turned your leaving into something cruel I spoke. I loved you the right way, and that is something true. I'll let you grow beyond me. I'll let you change your mind. I never used your softness as leverage to confine. I didn't make you smaller to make myself feel tall. I stood beside your rising. I never let you fall. I wasn't perfect, no, but I was honest through. And if I hurt, I never hurt on purpose, not you. I loved you the right way, with open hands, not chains. I held you without pressure, without invisible reins. I loved you the right way, without rewriting truth. I never asked you to be less than the whole of you. I loved you the right way. And even now I say, some love can end with dignity and still be okay. If loving means possession, then I never knew that art. Because I loved you freely, with an unguarded heart. I would rather lose you than never make you stay. Through guilt or fear or pressure, that's not love's way. I loved you the right way, and I can stand by that. Even if forever was something we never had. I loved you the right way, and I won't rewrite a love that was courageous just because it didn't fight. I loved you the right way. And that is how I know the man I am becoming is someone I can show. I loved you the right way. You walked in through the doorway like any other day. No violins, no warning signs, nothing left to say. We talked about the weather, we talked about the crowd, but silence in the spaces was speaking far too loud. I knew this wasn't random, I knew this wasn't fate. Some meetings are just quiet signs that it's already late. We didn't say goodbye, we didn't need to try. Some endings don't announce themselves, they just arrive. We didn't say goodbye, we didn't break apart. We simply let the silence finish what we'd started. Your smile was calm and steady, like nothing hurt inside. But something in your breathing felt like you were hiding. I wanted to say something to make the moment stay, but sometimes love grows quieter before it walks away. There was no dramatic closing, no final falling tear, just two people understanding why they're standing here. We didn't say goodbye, we didn't slam the door, we just stopped reaching out like we did before. We didn't say goodbye, and maybe that's okay. Some love doesn't shatter, it slowly fades away. If I see you years from now, I won't look away, because loving you once still shaped who I am today. Not every final moment needs a last embrace. Sometimes closure lives in the way we hold our place. We didn't say goodbye, but something ended there. Not with a broken promise, just with careful air. We didn't say goodbye, and that is how it goes. Some love leaves softly, and no one really knows. We didn't say goodbye, we just knew. I saw the way you looked at me, like you were barely holding, like every word between us was quietly unfolding. I felt the weight inside your voice, the tremble you concealed, and I knew if I stepped closer, nothing would be healed. We both are standing at something we can't afford, and love is not an excuse for starting a war. I have to be the one who stops this before it goes too far, before we lose more than we know, before we scar. I have to be the one who stops this, even if it breaks me too, because loving you the right way now means walking away from you. It would be easy to surrender to what we almost did, to tell ourselves we deserve it, to let the fire live. But easy isn't honest, and honest isn't kind. If I keep pulling you toward me, we'll both lose what's mine. I don't wanna be remembered as the reason something fell. Some love returns unfinished, but that doesn't mean it's well. I have to be the one who stops this, even if I bleed, because sometimes the strongest love is choosing not to lead. I have to be the one who stops this before we cry. 'cause wanting something real doesn't make it mine. If I hold you one more second, it won't be harmless anymore. If I look at you too long, I'll forget what I swore. This isn't weakness, this isn't pride. It's knowing that some feelings must be denied. I have to be the one who stops this, even if you hate me now. Even if this silence feels louder than a vow. I have to be the one who stops this and let the moment die. Because loving you responsibly means letting this pass by. You didn't have to say it, I saw it in your eyes. The way your hope grew fragile, the way it slowly died. I could have made it harder, I could have made you stay. But love that needs persuasion is already on its way. I felt my heart collapsing, but I kept my voice steady. Because loving you with grace was something I was ready. I let you go with dignity, not because I didn't care, but because I loved you too much to trap you there. I let you go with dignity, but shaking hands inside. Because love that forces closeness is only wounded pride. I let you go with dignity, even while it's hard. Because if I truly loved you, I couldn't ask for more. I didn't beg for reasons, I didn't blame the time, I didn't make you count the breaking of what's mine. I watched you walk away from me, and something in me broke. But I refused to turn that pain into a weapon I'd provoke. You deserve an ending that didn't stain your name, not a oral accusations, not a public flame. I let you go with dignity, let you go with dignity, though my heart was undone, because loving you fully meant letting you run. I let you go with dignity, and I will always be the man who chose your freedom over holding you to me. I let you go with dignity. Don't say your name anymore, it doesn't leave my lips. I learned to hold composure with fingertips. I walk into my mornings like nothing's out of place. I built a life that looks complete with a steady face. They think I've moved beyond you, they think I found my peace. But strength in daylight doesn't mean the ache has ceased. I still break at night when the noise is gone, when the strength I wear all day can't hold on. I still break at night when the lights are low, because loving you that deeply doesn't let go. I still break at night even after all I've learned. Dignity doesn't erase the way my chest still burns. I don't blame you anymore, I don't question fate. I don't replay the doorway or the timing of too late. I've grown into a better man, I've faced what I had to, but growth doesn't undo what loving you can do. There's a difference between healing and pretending you're okay. I can stand in sunlight and still fall apart in gray. I still break at night when the silence speaks, when memories arrive uninvited and complete. I still break at night even though I'm strong, because loving someone truly doesn't just turn off and on. I still break at night, but I don't let it show. Some wounds don't close, they just grow slow. I let you go with dignity, I loved you the right way. I carried it alone, I learned what not to say. I did everything a man is supposed to do, but none of that changes that I still miss you. I still break at night when there's nothing left to defend, when pride is not a shield and strength can't pretend. I still break at night, and maybe that's alright, because loving you that deeply I don't run from memories, they don't run from me. We coexist in quiet, without hostility. I don't flinch at photographs or songs we used to play. Some love becomes a chapter that never fades away. I've walked through every shadow, I've faced what I became. I've learned that pain can shape you without leaving you ashamed. I am still that man who loved you without chains, who let you go with dignity through loss and through the rain. I am still that man who learned too late, it's true, but every lesson carved in me was written love in you. I am still that man, and I stand here unafraid, not broken by the ending, but stronger for the way. I don't curse the silence, I don't fight the night. Even when it hurts me, I know it shaped me right. I don't need to rewrite the story that we were. Some love doesn't survive, but it still endures. If I love again someday, I won't hide or bend. I won't stay too silent or let my pride defend. Still that man, and that is how I know the love we had was real enough to let it go. You were not my failure, you were not my fall. You were a season in my life that shaped me through it all. And if I and I'm at peace.